It's a great movie, just to be clear. It is titled the children's movie that promotes theft and kidnapping, but I mean, it's for the best. I don't know where I was watching the movies I watched growing up, where I was getting the DVDs, where I don't know. A lot of the movies I watched growing up are never the normal movies. No one ever knows what I'm talking about. This movie is in that vein. I distinctly remember loving this movie. And you know, when kids really love something, I was no exception. Any movie I really liked, I watched over and over and over again, to the dismay of everyone around me, till the DVDs didn't work anymore. This one I could never find. I think I managed to watch it like twice. I remember no one ever being able to find it for me. Watch now that I've made a whole ordeal about it. It's gonna be on every platform and everyone's gonna be like, I've seen that movie a billion times. What are you talking about? Whatever. Anyway, as of right now, nowhere. I found it on a website, not even under an English title, which I think it's French. I remember watching it. It's called Dragon Hunter. I knew I loved this movie deeply. I thought it was the funniest movie in the world as a kid. I did also only remember that it was about these two dragon hunters, a child and her purple bunny that shoots fire. Obviously a classic that should have much more attention than it has now. Anyway, Dragon Hunters. Let's watch this bad boy. It opens with, wait, I'm just kidding. 4 main characters. I'll break them down for you real quick. Leon Chu and Guizhou are dragon hunters. A little girl named Zoe and a purple pet named Hector. Before I rewatch this, I would have told you that was a bunny. It's a dragon, which in hindsight makes a lot more sense. Leon Chu is a soft, kind warrior. Guizhou is his comedic, bossy sidekick. Everyone's favorite duo. Very cute, classic, strong trope. They're found child. It's like found family and a cool pet. That's like the best dynamic. So you're caught up. Leon Chu, Guizhou, Zoe, Hector. There you go. Opens with our hero Leon Chu, his tragic backstory. A flashback to a young Leon Chu. A dragon has just laid waste to his home and his family, and he only survived because he was hidden and alone. All he remembers are these eyes in the darkness. Grim opening, I will say. This is a wonderfully animated movie. Every scene matches and amplifies the tone, and aside from how everything means something, it's gorgeous. Sorry about your dead family and home, Leon Chu, but it looked great. And really, when our family is decimated, that's all we can ask for. Not moving on. Context about this movie. Sometimes gravity works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the land is spherical, sometimes it's flat, sometimes you're just a building on a rock. Except this. Now we're gonna move on. We have moved away from Leon Chu. We're at King Arnold's castle, fortress thing. And they had a lot of knights which were on quest to go find the world gobbler. They have not returned. So only 3 people inhabit this fortress castle right now. King Arnold and his assistant, butler. I don't quite know the titles of rich people in their cohorts. I don't know. It's his guy.
Still no sign of them, my good lord?
Nothing, Gildas, nothing at all. I can no longer see, but I am absolutely certain my faithful knights will never return.
And the king's niece, Zoe. She loves adventure stories and knights. She's obsessed with this book series where the main character is called Silver Knight Gothic. Does that name suck? Yes, it does. And I won't make fun of it out of my love for this small little child. All she's interested in are these books. She acts out these scenarios she makes up of Silver Knight Gothic defeating dragons. And this is noteworthy, 1, because, you know, she wants to be a dragon hunter. 2, most importantly, is this scene that she's making up of Silver Knight Gothic is literally how the end battle of this movie plays out. Exactly.
I do not fear you, ugly thing. My heart is pure as a freshwater spring. With my silver daggers, I shall lop off your head. Just da-da-da-da. Ha-ha.
She predicts it. So the movie like sprinkles in here that Zoe is a prophet, I guess. But I'm not going to touch on it. I'm not going to bring it up because it does not seem to matter. It does not get addressed. Nothing. So we're just going to move on. Again, no one's in this castle, this fortress. Everyone's afraid of the world gobbler soon appearing. They say this casually, that the world gobbler is a threat, and the king is about to send Zoe off to a convent for safety. Because she's a little girl. She's not a boy. Only a boy could be trained to hunt dragons, because as we all know, a woman's frail little hands and bodies cannot hold a sword because we would wither away into nothing. But silly little Zoe doesn't know about this because she is all like, hey, uncle, I want to be a warrior.
If only I'd had a nephew! I could have taught him the basic principles of dragon hunting.
Oh, yes, please, Uncle. That would be so darn neat.
Well, it's not that I would rather have you be a boy, my little girl, but the fact is you are not one. Hunting just isn't suitable for little girls.
He doesn't even register that. Why would he? He might be blind, but he can see past your feminist agenda any day. Yeah, Uncle Arnold sucks. A lot. But one of those previously mentioned knights I told you that were all out on quest does come back. A beam of hope. Someone has returned from finding the world gobbler. Someone's returned alive.
Cease your stupid groaning! Articulate!
Our faithful Brandon is but a pile of ashes.
Oh. No, he's just ash. He's just a pile of ash. Which is another sign the world gobbler is approaching. To avoid being sent to a convent, and to help, Zoe sneaks out of the castle to go find Silver Knight Gothic, the book character. And we leave her for a moment. And we're back to Leon Chu. Lost his family home to a dragon, is now a dragon hunter. Renowned, successful dragon hunter. Well, no. He's not great at it.
Now don't let him barf on ya!
And Hector, the little dragon, is also subpar at dragon hunting. They are not good at it. They're not great. I mean, the villagers laugh and mock him, and refuse to pay Guizdo. They just laugh and leave. Now, Leon Chu, our muscle, who does the dragon slaying, is very sweet, not necessarily the brightest bulb, like he doesn't understand any meanness.
Hitting clients? That's being
He
credible.
doesn't prioritize money, he's very righteous. But Guizdo, who's BFF, his pal, he's like, hey, you need to be scarier so people can take you seriously. And he's like, Leon Chu, you need to be more credible.
And that's why the Hicks are scared of him, you get it?
Come on, Biff.
You don't get it. Hey, look, a dragon hunter who's credible makes the whole earth shake when he walks.
If you just tried to go back and understand what Hector said, you can't. Don't try to make sense of it. It's just Hector language isn't ours. It could be French. I don't know. And Leon Chu doesn't take offense to any of this until his knitting gets insulted. And he's like, my mom taught me. And he storms off. We see a little memory of him post decimation of his land and his family finding said knitting needles. So Guizdo was like, hey, BFF pal, I'm so sorry. I was just worked up. I just want us to make money so we can buy that little farm that we've always dreamed of, that we've always talked about. It's on our vision board, babe. Okay? Farm with sheep, and we're happy. That's the goal in life, you know? We have to make money to do that. You know, they're back to being BFFs, everything's solved.
We're a real team, me and you.
Oh, Team Joe, Team Joe.
Yeah, Hector, the three of us.
When they hear screaming,
Jim Bob Dragon.
Leon Chu storms off, goes toward this little girl in barrel. It's Zoe. She's being chased by electricity dragons. And to me, they're like the velociraptors of the dragon world. He uses his knitting needles, an accident, to defeat them. Like he figures out he can zap their electricity back at them. Now filled with energy, electricity. He does accidentally shock Zoe when she comes up to hug him.
Silver Knight Gothic!
No, it's me, Leon Chu.
You just saved my life there, my love!
But she's cool. She's fine. But Zoe thinks they're real knights. When Guizdo hears Rich Uncle, he lies. He's like, oh yeah, Knight Leon Chu is cooler than Silver Knight Gothic. Much more renowned, much more credible. And we know how to defeat dragons. It's like what we do every day, babe. So Zoe's enamored, obsessed, brings them right to her uncle. One super cute thing is Hector and Zoe are immediately BFFs. That is her dragon. Uncle Arnold does not listen to his assistant's concerns about Guizdo and Leon Chu not looking like real dragon hunters that do not seem credible, do not seem very valid. He just feels Leon Chu up to make sure he's a knight.
Muscle and Raw power. Yes, the attributes of a true warrior.
Your Highness, if you please, they are the...
Shut up, Gilda.
He's convinced. He immediately just takes them into a creepy room to give him the quest of slaying the World Gobbler. We're seeing the signs of his awakening. Castles falling, smoldering nights, red cloud, arches floating away, villages sinking, talking animals.
Sinking villages and talking animals. When all of these signs have appeared, my boy, he will have returned, the devourer of life.
So we're on like the second step of that, so getting close. And the reason he's blind is he looked at the World Gobbler a long time ago. It's the largest, most fearsome evil dragon in the world, right? And Leon Chu needs to find where it dwells and kill it in its sleep, because got no chance if it's awake and coming at you, you know? Guizhou went from, oh, we have to get out of here, this is scary and way too much for us, to, sign this contract, please, after seeing all the gold. And they leave. Well, the red cloud shows up.
The red cloud, my lord.
And it's just a swarm of tiny red dragons. They're like bat dragons. Guizhou's plan was to take the advance money, because it was enough for the farm, and just dip. Just leave. Not worth going after the World Gobbler, because they will not succeed, you know? Just swindle the old guy and leave. Get out of the region where they'd be in peril. He goes to walk away.
This is our little farm, buddy. The one of our comfy little dreams with sheep everywhere. Now, let's get out of here while the beasties are busy.
But Zoe shows up.
I'm coming with you, my lords!
She lies, obviously. She's like, my Uncle Arnold actually wanted me to go with you guys. He wanted me to learn this trade, and if you don't bring me along, he will spank your bare bottom in public.
My bare bottom? In public?
Then the, red swarm of bat dragons chases them down, so they're forced on the path towards the World Gobbler. All those dragons form one big dragon that spits fire.
For crying out loud! And he's spitting fire besides! No, what I meant was he's doing it with his mouth.
And Leon Chu, he just skateboards under the large dragon. It falls. Makes them all scatter and it flies past. But Zoe is so thrilled. She's so impressed. And all she does is talk. She makes songs and stories about what Leon Chu just did and how magnificent and cool he is. It sort of drives Guizhou bonkers.
I can't take it. I'm gonna hang myself. I'm talking about Princess Blabbermouth!
A fire!
Back when camping out, Guizhou talking to Leon Chu, he's like, hey, we are in way too deep. We can't tell her we're fake knights, right? That would be silly. And the World Gobbler's way too scary. Let's just ditch Zoe in the woods, so she can get eaten by a dragon. That way she can't snitch to her uncle that we scammed them. That's his plan. Obviously, always a character in a kid's movie that starts off questionable and is changed and gets nicer and more empathetic and has to endure a lot to show we all change each other and we're all good deep down inside. Yes, we're teaching kids values. Caring and being evil is bad. So, yes, sure, Guizhou isn't going to be a perfect character. However, is child endangerment and planning to let the child get eaten always so prevalent? I thought not, right? I was like, Guizhou, but you can't say that. Is that too far? But, I guess in Ice Age, Diego was going to eat the kid. So, I guess it's fine. But Leon Chu, moral guy, wet blanket loser, does not want to do this. We all know that person in the friend group that won't let us ditch children in the forest to let them get eaten by dragons. So he voids this plan. Goes on route to the World Gobbler. So I guess since Zoe getting eaten is off the vision board, they're back on this trek towards the end of the world. They run into another one of her uncle's knights. He's not Smoldering Ash.
But you're not animals, are you?
No. It's me, Zoe.
Zoe.
Don't you recognize me?
He's stark raving mad.
He wasn't like that before.
But he isn't doing well either. His hands and his mind are fighting with each other. Eventually he does just run off along with the arch. so they can't turn around and leave. Their path is flown away. Leon Chu, not really fazed. He goes onward towards the scary, creepy mountains, creepy forest. And in the creepy forest, they get attacked by what looks like on-land sea urchins. Like balls of spikes start falling from the sky and sprouting from everywhere and chasing them. Eventually they get through it. They run through a door. Obviously, how else do you leave the forest? Through a door that leads to nowhere until a floating ghost village shows up and they jump on that bad boy.
Village come from?
Scary ghost town or stinky forest?
Scary ghost town.
But those red bat dragons from earlier chase them onto it. Hector, don't worry, Hector does get sausage that he found. He gets to eat that, and he poses as a statue, so the bat dragons don't chase him down. He's fine. Genius. Now, Quizdo gets trapped in a building, leaving Zoe outside, and she was banging on the door. He leaves her to get eaten. They're both fine.
Hey, good move with the barrel, kid.
Yes. Go find your own.
Everyone's scattered and being hunted by the swarms of the bat dragons. Leon Chu traps some of the dragons in one of the buildings before a bunch of them go to form this large dragon again, but it only manages to make parts of it because they've all been separated. Like the head of the dragon is in the building, apart from the body. Leon Chu uses this to his advantage. He makes the head think he's somewhere, and the body goes to grab him. But they all crash into each other, and it makes the bats fly away again. And the importance of this, besides being another battle, is you see Zoe can handle herself, and Quizdo is scared. It's not necessarily that he hates Zoe, but he's like blaming the situation on her. He's been like, oh, Zoe's doing this and this, but he's just afraid. And that's not, excuse. It's kind of messed up. He left a child to die. But Zoe snitches, rightfully so, that Quizdo locked her out and left her alone.
Quizdo, he left me all alone with the ugly bats. I called for help and he didn't budge. I knocked on the door, but he didn't even open it.
And everyone's like, so disappointing. Child endangerment? That's not cool. We're gonna shun you for a few minutes. And there's an argument between Leonchu and Quizdo. He's like, we are not knights. Alright, babe?
When the world gobbler is dead, we can have our little farm.
Oh, right. The great knight Leon Chu was going to say to the world gobbler, I do not fear you, ugly thing. And poof, the world gobbler's dead. And we're all happy as pigs.
Stop.
I'm not finished. And then nature blossoms. Everything's green. And there are little white bunnies flying all over the place.
Stop!
We're all going to die. Real life knights, they always die. I don't want you to die.
I can't stand to watch you die, so I'm gonna leave. And he steps off the ghost town. And Zoe's like, we're better off without him. Who is that guy anyway? And Leonchu is like, he was my only friend. He was my best friend. My childhood pal. This is so sad. Quizdo isn't, yeah, he's been putting this child in danger. It's out of fear. He's like, I love my friend, and I'm afraid for him. Quizdo leaves, everyone's pouting. We're all wallowing and being sad, staring off into the lonely distance. And you see Quizdo not even caring about anything. He steps off into land things are being blown up behind him, and he doesn't even care. He just gives up. This movie is very careful. Every part of it means something. It's very well animated. It's the background animation, the music. It's all perfect. It's not about how annoying can we be to hold a kid's attention. It's just good. Everything's got purpose. It all fits right. I think it's a very good introduction for kids on literary aspects. The breaking apart land pieces as they are all broken apart, it's all very obvious, but I think it's very cute and meaningful. It's, again, visually very charming. It's also doing its job of representing what's going on. Everything matches all the time. I didn't want to stop this movie scene for scene to break it down for you and compliment it and explain how well everything fits, because I just wanted to talk about the movie, but it's also a disservice to the movie to just explain the plot points. I don't know, this scene in particular, I had to stop it and be like, Good movie. So, Leon Chu back into it, make sure Zoe and Hector are safe and sound and sleeping before he departs to go get Guisto back. Guisto is floating away until two of the bat dragons show up. And they're talking to him, violently arguing with him. They're bullying him.
Hey, sir, rip-off artist. Shut up! I didn't choose to be small and poor.
Don't forget ugly and mean.
Exactly! Ugly and mean.
I didn't choose to be small and poor and ugly and mean. God, tramp stamp idea. He realizes the talking animals are his imagination.
And animals that talk! Animals that talk?
Losing his marbles a little bit right now. It's a sign of, end of the world. And immediately goes running and screaming back. He just falls. Leon Chu catches him.
Guisto.
They have to run back to Zoe to save her. There's a bunch of these weird lights going towards their ghost town. Dragons, obviously. Guisto isn't any help. He's still out of it.
Just wait for me here.
Those dragons under the village that are attacking them, these pig dragons, I just got Tremors out of my mind. I posted that 2-hour-long video of watching all 7 Tremors movies and finally put it out of my head. And then they show me these pig dragons that remind me of the blasters. Will I ever escape? I don't think so. Guisto still not helping. He reveals through hand puppets that they're not real knights, and Zoe's an idiot for believing them. I didn't say that. He says that. This freaks her out while the pig dragons attack Leon Chu and bring their floating village crashing down, like they crash land hard. This brings Guisto back, so I guess if you're losing your mind, just give yourself a concussion and you'll be fine. He's back to being himself, and he's freaked out looking for Zoe. And he sees Leon Chu, who doesn't have her. And they hear a whimpering Hector, who leads them to a Zoe who was not doing well. She felt pretty hard. And she, given this dying monologue, she's like, life isn't a fairy tale. It's okay that you're not real knights.
It doesn't matter if you're not really knights. You're still my favorite heroes.
I think that you're brave and good people. Promise not to abandon each other. Promise you're heroes and you can win, but you have to stay together. Guisto swears.
Promise me I'll carry through to the end, Guisto. And my death won't have been in vain.
It's a promise, Zoe.
So, this is what pushes the story on, brings Leon Chu and Guisto back together. It's very grim. Again, very grim. I'm just joking. Zoe's fine.
I swear we will.
Oh, thank you, Guisto!
But you and you're not hurt?
Nope. I just fell down there.
I just fell down there. I would be more worried seeing someone's body imprint on concrete than seeing them just laying down on a rock. I just fell down. Okay. Anyway, so Guisto is revealed to actually love and adore this child.
You were really scared?
Of course I was!
That means you love me.
And he's joined them again on their pursuit of slaying the world gobbler. Remember, the king said Leon Chu needed to find this man, slay him while he sleeps. Our biggest hero, by the way. Genuine underdog. It wouldn't be right to not address the most helpful scene in this entire movie.
What is that? Is that an earthquake?
No. It was snoring. We have to find him.
Leon Chu goes, we must find him. And Hector looks under a rock. I bet no one else thought to check under a small rock for a giant dragon. Thank you, Hector. Backbone of this entire endeavor. He is the glass out of the box. Of course, this doesn't help in any way, shape, or form. That's not relevant. They're out looking for this dragon carefully. As we both know, sometimes land just flies apart and breaks apart and crashes into things in this world. A flying arch crashes into a bell and awakens the world gobbler. It's this skeleton dragon that towers over everything, and Leon Chu is nothing compared to him. His weapon shatters against its tooth, so his little scythe thing gone. Corners him. They have a bunch of back and forth. They all get sucked into the dragon's mouth. buildings and everything get breathed into the world gobbler's mouth. Where does everything go if the dragon is just a skeleton? Why are we afraid of being sucked into the dragon's mouth if you just come out of its ribcage? I don't know. And Leon Shu, after all this back and forth, him realizing that he is not a dragon hunter that could slay the world gobbler, he hides the way he did when he was a kid, and he's transported back when he was hiding from the world gobbler, that when it decimated his family and his land, and when he's finding his mom's knitting needles. Young Leon Chu is shown to have drawn this dragon out in the sand and dig the knitting needles into the eyes of the picture of the dragon that he drew out when he was a kid. And Leon Chu has just remembered this memory. So he knows what he has to do. He tells the dragon to leave them alone and recites the Silver Knight Gothic line that Zoe is constantly reciting.
I do not fear you, ugly thing. My heart is pure as a freshwater spring.
They have a stare-off. World Gobbler pulls him into his mouth with his magic. Leon Shu runs up the World Gobbler and falls. Drops one of the needles. He is not doing well. One of the knitting needles almost falls off a cliff, right? The dragon does take a break from trying to kill Leon Shu to roar at Guizhou for cheering Leon Shu on.
Go for it, Leon Shu!
Leon Shu finds his knitting needles and he throws them throwing star style into the eyes of the dragon. He's defeated, which, like I said, is exactly how Zoe acted it out. The reciting of the line, the dropping one of the silver daggers, the dragon being a large skeleton. Hello? Why aren't we talking? Psychic prophet kid. Anyway, World Gobbler defeated. And you see a serene, cute world. Bunnies floating around, everything's beautiful. They're on grass talking about the farm they're gonna have, where Zoe's room's gonna be when she comes to visit. And you think everything is perfect and wrapped up. So they head back to Uncle Arnold to get that money. No. Uncle Arnold can see now. And he's like, Guizhou and Leon Shu look pathetic. They don't look credible. They're embarrassing. These are not dragon hunters. And Zoe's a liar.
Where are my noble knights?
But my great and wealthy lord, we're here.
You?
Sends Zoe off. Yells at her.
No
Not Tall Tales. Leon Shu is a hero.
Out of my sight, insolent girl!
And wants Leon Shu and Guizhou to leave. Doesn't pay him. Guizhou yells at him. He's like, hey, you can't treat Zoe like that. She's a good kid. You're a loser.
She deserves so much better than a dishonest, self-centered, miserly old uncle. With all the respect I have for the boogers in my nose, I'd like to know what Lord Arnold the Buttwipe has to say about that.
And then they leave. He doesn't grovel to get the money or anything. And he just spanked Guizhou. Doesn't show that, but it tells you.
Ooh, I tell you, kings are not respectable people.
So they didn't get paid. And they are departed. They're separated from Zoe. Not for long, though. She does show up.
Zoe?
She ran away from the tower, robbed her uncle enough to get them this farm, a huge bag of gold. So the ending is they kidnapped her and robbed her. They got the money for the farm. That was Dragon Hunters. I would do a super long conclusion about how beautiful the movie is, impressive, how every aspect is done right. I already said all this, though. You don't need me to say it all again. I mean, I guess Hector's my favorite animal sidekick pet ever. And I think this movie is animated incredibly well. It was just me explaining the plot to you because I think this is a good movie more people should know about. It's ridiculous. Genius, though. I didn't have complaints. It's just a positive retelling of a movie I just wanted to tell you about. And what we learned in this ending is even if you don't choose to be small and poor and ugly and mean, you can still accomplish great things, like stealing from the rich and the importance of community. Isn't that the lesson we all need? Nothing but praise for me on that front. That was Dragon Hunters. Thank you for watching.